Good afternoon, Slugs. Good afternoon, Sam. Welcome to another episode of Mod Bless America. We have had some profound hardware/software issues, which would explain the gap from our last production. We had a great episode that apparently was, like we always do, Slugs, talk for our own benefit, because, of course, Sam couldn't be bothered to record the thing. Things were getting weird in the land of ginger.
I was gone.
That, I am excited to be back from Scotland.
Welcome back to the USA.
Always good to be back in the USA. It was interesting, and I'm going to share a couple of comments. It is not scientific. It is purely anecdotal. Feel free to criticize. But out of about 30 to 40 different Scots that I encountered and spent some time with, most of them were on the golf course or around the residence or deal where we stayed. 100% of them quizzed me about what it's like to be an American. And in particular,
from what aspect?
They were narrowing it down to say, what do Americans think of Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, and immigration policy in the United Kingdom, as well as most of Western Europe? Specifically, they were talking about Germany and France. The second question related to that was, how did America get so far afield, for lack of a better term, under Biden with the immigration relative
policy,
to how quickly we were able to turn it around? And did I think that was something that the UK could bring to the table as well?
Because they have the similar problems.
They would describe it as far worse than what we had.
Really?
So you guys have all read, a lot of people have seen headlines, different individuals saying that they think that the island of England, so that would be England and Scotland and Wales, are closer to civil war than they have been in centuries. And it is all over the topic of immigration. All these different people, 100% unanimous, saying it's out of hand, that the immigrants have more rights than do residents and citizens of either Scotland or England or Wales, that there is more money being expended on these immigrants than on the people that are paying the taxes, that resources are being diverted in favor of immigrants at the expense of citizens, and that ultimately they are continuing to get ever more agitated, that it is unfairly and improperly impacting their children, their parents, their friends, and it ultimately comes down to a pretty simple equation. You can't continue to absorb unfettered immigration.
Right.
You can't pay for it, and you can't stick the taxpayers with the bill without some effort to control the border.
So being familiar with our socialization in our country on how we attempt to socialize those immigrants, whether it be Social Security, healthcare services, or resources within the community, what differs between our country and their country? Is it more extreme? Do they fund at a higher level, or is it about on par, or is it below?
They obviously have more in England in particular, the National Health Service. They truly have a socialized healthcare delivery model that does not really have any element of a private sector. Now, they do have healthcare rationing. And as a sidebar, and this is not something we discussed, I'm not sure that America would ever go with the notion of rationing healthcare. As a rule, most people say, damn the torpedoes. I don't care what the cost is. You have to do this life-saving event or series of events because it's all about
So they do it based on means testing isn't the right thing, but age testing, if you will, based on, so let's say I'm a 78-year-old man and need a procedure, and a 38-year-old woman needs a procedure. 38-year-old woman
she would get it at the expense of the 78-year-old.
Right. Why is that?
Because the life expectancy, the productivity.
Oh, okay.
There's only so many open heart procedures, as an example, to go around. And they're going to prioritize young and presumably healthy over old and a lot lower life expectancy.
Yeah.
But there are apparently exceptions to that. For example, if a 38-year-old has a long-term history of all these other comorbidities, they may not. But as a general rule, all things being equal, the 38-year-old would be in front of the 78-year-old for a wide array of
I'll make a
possible
statement in our country, unfortunately, and I say this unfortunately because A, I'm becoming older, B, I've observed it, C, I took care of some elderly relatives, and our country does not value the age and wisdom and history of our aged people. and they, quite frankly, kind of cast them aside. There's a lot of societies that, instead of pushing them out into a retirement community, the family takes them in. And that's certainly not our society. Our society is built on production. And unfortunately, right now, and we've gotten to that in some earlier discussions about the productivity going down.
Yes.
The number of working people have gone down. But our society is purely built on how much you can produce, therefore how much you can give back and build into that fabric of our U.S. government. And when you get over that tipping point, there's really not any place for you. I mean, I hate to be that black and white. That's my observation. That's what I felt. That's what I see. And I don't think it's changing. I think it's wrong. I think there's a lot of people that, despite their age, we can name countless of them who contribute a great deal to society from a variety of standpoints. But we generally, anybody over 65, we just kind of cast aside.
That's sad.
It's
crazy.
It really is.
Well, and I would say I'm going to differ slightly. Within America, there are different subsets that do exactly what you said, that they embrace the aging parent.
Who would that?
Generally speaking, Asians.
Yes.
And Hispanics.
Yes.
And to a substantial degree, Africans. It's predominantly the white subset of our society that is much more comfortable embracing a third-party, external senior housing environment than are other elements of our overall culture.
I think I commented on one of our discussions, Matt, about the blue zone and what the blue zone is. And there are 7 places around the world that have blue zone, which means the life expectancy is just so much over the rest of the world's life expectancy. And a guy named Dan Butenberg dug into what those commonalities are. And again, one of them's in California, actually. But the commonality is one of them, the one we're discussing today, is they take care of their aged and embrace them and embrace their longevity, their wisdom, and what they can teach the younger folks. And they don't get farmed out to a nursing home. They get brought to within a relative's home. And that's the commonality. That's one of the key common traits. There are many amongst the blue zone people where people live well into their late 90s and 100. And it's kind of a spike on these 7 places. But that's one of them. And that's the community. Right. And valuing the aged and their wisdom.
My kids are going to be able to recite it when they put me in the ground. One of the long-standing comments, guys, I have wisdom, defined as knowledge obtained from heavy tuition to the school of hard knocks.
Yeah, you're right.
It's interesting how different cultures, different societies, different subsets of those, they treat the elderly very differently. But you see that in the animal kingdom too. It's fascinating. I don't necessarily know what's right or what's wrong. I do know that my mother at 93, heaven forbid she would need to move in with one of the family. I think my brother and sister and I would all step up and do whatever part we could. I honestly don't think she would be happy living in my house. And I'm pretty confident that I'd be okay with it for a while, but I kind of like my own space.
Well, everybody gets their rhythm of life. I call it a rhythm of life. Everybody has it. Sam, you have one. Matt, you have one. Dave certainly has one. Ironically, our spouses or the people we live with have their own rhythm of life too, and you have to get an ebb and a flow with that, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, you do. Your yin has to meet the yang.
Change is hard.
What's that?
Change is hard.
Well, I don't know that it's change; it's adaptation.
Yeah.
And again, everybody has their idiosyncrasies, but I think the rhythm of life on what time you go to bed, what time you get up, what you like to do in the morning. What your relaxation is, the space you need alone, the space you need to socialize. All of those things differ from personalities. Certainly gender, I can acknowledge that. Same thing with kids. You mentioned your mother. What if your children moved back in and your kids came back home? Again, their rhythm of life is much different at their age than our rhythm of life, and certainly your mother's at 93.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
There's generational changes. There's just personality that go into it. But again, living with a spouse, everybody has to understand everybody's rhythm.
So going back to the Scots.
Yes.
Their other big question to
Please.
me was, what was my take on Donald Trump?
Yes.
And what fascinated me is, again, roughly 30 to 40 different individuals, all of them were huge supporters of Donald Trump.
Why were they supporting?
And there was one who very clearly was not, and just said no. And it was kind of interesting how I think I figured out.
Male
this
or
person
female?
happened to be a male.
Okay.
The primary comment was, they all said, we never understood how you elected the prior guy, Joe Biden.
So, to universal?
Of the 30 to 40, all but one, that was a common denominator.
Right.
Explain to me how Biden got elected.
But Trump, Biden, Trump.
Correct.
Yeah.
Followed by, well, no, wasn't even Trump, Biden, Trump. It was Biden by himself. None of them could understand how America elected him.
Oh.
By contrast, they couldn't believe how many votes Kamala Harris got. And then the third part of this whole conversation was, why can't they have someone similar to Donald Trump in the United Kingdom?
That's interesting.
Well, you have to have somebody with the courage to do that, to say what he says. And I think probably the biggest element Donald has is from his years of hard knocks on doing business on the East Coast. I think he's built kind of a shell around him.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of a defense and facade to an extent. All with one motive in mind, and that's to win. Win whatever that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What he is looking at as an objective and what he determines is the win.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly defined what a win looks like for our country. And I think he's going after that. But he has the courage and the conviction and, quite frankly, the tough skin, the tough shell to take to have that conviction. And quite frankly, again, we've talked about this, Matt, his cabinet has that conviction as well.
They ever.
So,
Yeah.
It's a thick-skinned group. And I will say, I appreciate none of them are worried about getting reelected.
No.
They're doing what they think is best for the country. And a lot of us happen to agree. But it was interesting because across the board, there would be, they all said, once in a while he comes across as a little harsh. So, well, yeah, I'm sure that he comes across in a lot of things that are not always positive to the hearer or the listener or the viewer.
Yeah.
But overall, I think he really, in particular, his speech to the United Nations.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it takes courage and conviction.
Takes courage and conviction. And he called them out on a lot of levels.
A lot of levels.
And, it was interesting because we subsequently were traveling back, and while sitting in the waiting area, they had BBC News on. And BBC, in stark contrast, is there was nobody from the Conservative Party. It was all, they had Greta Thunberg being interviewed.
Is she on the news? Is she
she was being interviewed
okay.
by them, and she's on a boat somewhere off the coast of, basically the Middle East, supposedly bringing in humanitarian aid to the struggling Gazans. And it's all about how the Israelis are committing genocide.
Right.
There were no hard
and we're
questions.
funding it.
And it went on and on. That how wonderful Keir Starmer is. He's a human rights lawyer. He's a great prime minister. And that was the other conversation. Every one of those people couldn't stand Starmer. They were annoyed the conservatives, who had years to kind of get their poop in a group, didn't really do so. That's why they got voted out. And they were all wondering why and I don't know English politics well enough, but why the members of parliament were not calling a vote of no confidence in Keir Starmer, because of the immigration flood, and in particular embracing what's going on, combined with there are now people in the United Kingdom that are getting tickets. They're facing jail time for so-called, quote, hate speech, end quote, which are, a lot of people, kind of like we had going on under Biden in the States, showing up at school board meetings saying, I don't agree. This violates my religious beliefs, my biological beliefs, but I don't think we should be having men participating in women's sports, as an example, or indoctrinating my kids without my permission in the alphabet, LGBTQ, trans, blah, blah, blah. And that was, they were trying to arrest those people. Well, they are arresting them in the United Kingdom. They're paying pretty substantial fines, and some of them are being incarcerated. They don't have the same First Amendment right to freedom of speech that we have, which we come back to. It doesn't matter what right you have. That doesn't absolve you of the responsibility to practice that right responsibly. And frankly, if you don't practice it responsibly, you run into the proverbial, your people think you're an asshole.
So
Yeah.
we mentioned, you mentioned a couple, one name specifically is Kamala Harris. Who amongst us three, is going to read the 107-day book, her book?
Hard pass.
She has a book? I didn't
She
see
has a
that.
book. She has a book. Come on, Sam.
I had a question about this. You said that they wondered why she got so many votes. Like they're saying like they didn't like her.
They never thought she had a chance.
Oh yeah.
And,
they didn't think she was qualified?
The infamous word salads, and they're all saying, can't believe she was a lawyer, can't believe she had these positions.
Can't believe she was an AG.
Can't believe she was an AG.
Was an AG.
Attorney General of California.
Oh yeah.
A U.S. Senator.
A U.S. Senator.
And
then Vice President of the United States.
Had Biden taken a knee, she'd be the president.
Right. And within, 3 million votes of becoming president.
But not in the electoral college.
Not in the electoral college. She got wiped.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she did.
What do you guys think about the electoral college?
Sam, we have an assignment for you.
Oh.
You have to read the book and report back.
107 Days by Kamala Harris.
Sounds.
And it's about her presidential campaign. And I've read excerpts. And she's pitching everybody out the window and rolling over them with the tires.
And then just to make sure she backs up over him again.
Meaning the Biden camp is all getting pitched out the window.
Boy. Well, and you saw yesterday the Washington Post.
And the Obamas, too.
Yeah, the Washington Post came out and said, why are we wasting our time on Kamala as a possible 28th presidential candidate?
So who's it going to be, Matt? Is it going to be Newsom?
Newsom.
Is it going to be
Newsom wants it, but again, Newsom's one of those guys. If you look at his record, I don't even know how he keeps a straight face and tells people he's qualified to be president. He's a total goddamn slob, and that's on his best.
California is not in good
California,
shape.
the 7th largest economy in the world, and he's running that thing into the ground. And typical Democrat, rather than undoing the burdensome regulations and compliance and regulatory aspects, they're doubling down and trying to give exceptions. To wit, they have more refining capabilities, and yet they're losing.
They've lost 2 large refineries.
Chevron and Phillips 66. Chevron, they've been there for 150 plus years.
And they're pulling out of the state.
They bailed out and they're shutting them down.
Regulations. On the other coast, we have a former Democrat who turned independent, who dropped out of the race for New York City, Eric Adams.
Yes.
That kind of paves the way for Cuomo and Mario and Mandalmi.
Well, don't forget there's Curtis Sliwa, SLI. Sliwa, whatever.
Not
Proud Boys, the Red
Angels.
Hats. Angels.
There's an organization he charted in New York.
Back in the 70s or 80s? But it was to stomp out some of the crime that was being perpetrated against New Yorkers.
We researched that. It's a
what is this?
Anti-crime. Eric Sewell.
Sliwa. That's how you spell his last name.
So.
His crime?
No. He had a crime fighting organization. A volunteer deal.
Angels.
Let's see.
Something of the sort. And he's there's three candidates.
But that was the other one.
Guardian Angels.
Okay.
Yep.
He probably needs to,
he
cut
does.
it out because
I don't know how many votes he's going to.
I don't either.
Garner.
But that was the last comment. Not one of the Scots could understand how a guy like Mamdani could be up for what is being perceived as an important role.
I think the mayor of the largest city in the United States is an important role.
That's the point.
It's the financial epicenter of the world.
How can you have in the financial epicenter of the capitalist world, a guy who is a flagrantly, what they call themselves, socialists of America, democratic socialists?
Yeah.
He's ostensibly a communist.
Oh, yes.
And by the way, not ostensibly. He's a classic communist, just like Animal Farm. He's got his. All the rest of you slobs, you better buck up and let's start contributing the means of production to the masses.
So now about this heavy subject that you got from the 30 or 40 people asked about the political, tell us about the Scotch, the golf, the scenery, the...
Couldn't have been better. I can't wait to go back. We had absolutely beautiful weather.
Okay.
Bright sunshine.
Now, describe the weather.
So we were right outside St. Andrews on the east side of Scotland, on the south, what they would call the lowlands. So closer to England than the Highlands. You're right there, coming out of Edinburgh, you have the Firth and Forth. It feeds into the North Sea. So it is the epicenter just like New York of capitalism, this is the epicenter of golf. That's
Yes.
where golf was founded, the old course at St. Andrews, back in the 1500s. As a sidebar, some king back in the late 1500s, early 1600s said, hey, husbands should be home helping out their wives, so no golf on Sunday. So to this day, no golf at the old course on Sunday.
Wow.
Is that universal for Scotland or just that course?
Good question. Don't know. But what I do know is it was packed chock-a-block full of people. There were dogs running around, people playing frisbee. There were families pushing babies in baby carriages.
On the golf course.
All over the golf course.
That's awesome.
On Sunday.
On Sunday. No golf.
So
to
it's
answer
a
your
public
question,
course?
yeah, they're all public courses.
Really? Did you play them? Or what courses
We played
did you
the
play?
Eden course at St. Andrews on the first day. Had a great time, a lot of fun. Next time we played Kings Barnes, which was also a terrific course, great experience. As a sidebar, kind of a funny little deal, we played Dumbarnie Links. And I happened to be going into the restroom, and there's a sign talking about the investors. And dang if it isn't a guy you and I know from the Country Club of Lincoln, Bill Cooley. Landscapes Unlimited built that course for Dumbarnie Links.
Bill was
Wow.
there.
His name was
One
one of the
there,
investors,
right?
and his company built that course.
Oh,
It's the longest walking course in Scotland. Beautiful views of the Firth at Forth. The other thing I would say, it reminded me a lot of Caprock. There were a lot of similarities, but it was stunningly beautiful. In answer to your question, the weather, bright sunshine the whole time, with the exception of Friday afternoon and Saturday, the clouds came in. It reminded me of Colorado. Temps were between low 50s and low 60s. When the sun was behind the clouds, it was a little brisk.
Yep.
You know, the breeze coming off of that water, it's cold water. When the sun was out, you were stripping off layers.
Did you partake?
Quite heavily.
Okay. Scotch, beer,
Scotch.
imbibe.
And by the way, it's not called Scotch, it's whiskey.
Whiskey.
Everything else is Irish whiskey, Canadian whiskey, American whiskey.
It's all whiskey.
Hmm.
Scotch whiskey.
Scotch whiskey over there is purely whiskey. There's no qualifier. If you're having whiskey, you're drinking Scotch whiskey.
Gotcha.
Everything else is a Scotch whiskey wannabe.
Gotcha.
From there, we had some great ones. One of the comments this fellow said was, if you don't like Scotch, you just haven't found the right one, because there's enough of them, you're going to find something you like.
Did you
And I
find
found
one you
several
liked?
that I liked.
Did you found several?
I found several.
Did you bring some with you?
Why, yes, I did. And I can't wait to sample it. Now, Sam, why would you ask? You're not old enough. We already established that.
I'm just wondering if you did.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you have any beer?
No.
No beer.
Unfortunately, we did not. No good reason. They're big fans of having a pint. We just never chose to do that. We
I
had
understand that's a big deal over there too.
Oh, it's a big deal. Sam, you ought to go. Actually,
I wanna
the
go.
town of St. Andrews is a college town. And
Really?
you betcha. There's a lot of pubs, and my guess is you'd have a heck of a big time over there.
Yeah.
Pretty sure if it was a guy's trip, I too would have a heck of a big time.
I really want to go
Time as it was.
I really want to go to Ireland, Scotland. That'd be so fun. England.
What's your heritage?
Well, I'll tell you what. Being a ginger, you'd fit right in with.
Well,
both of them.
My family's mostly German, but we have Irish in us, obviously, and English. But yeah,
Like I said, you'd be in like a biting sow.
yeah.
So the countryside, beautiful.
Countryside's beautiful. The people couldn't have been nicer.
What was your mode of transportation?
One, I drove, and that's a little interesting, driving on the wrong side of the road.
That'd be hard.
You're on the left side, and from there,
You were on the right side driving.
I'm on the right side driving on the left side.
On the
of
left
the road.
side.
And like I said, once you get used to it, it's not that big a deal. It's unusual that you have to look right first before, we're all raised, and it's just automatic to turn left. So growing up, a neighbor of mine out of Pine Lake, he was an attorney, was in London, busy traffic, looked left, stepped out, and got run over by a bus, killed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a bad deal. And so I've always remembered that. I'm pretty careful to check left. I also remember a story. My parents were in London, and not totally sure where, it's not relevant, but it was a multi-lane roundabout. Talking with my dad, and he said, well, yeah, it was quite a deal. It took us about 5 loops before we could finally figure out how to get off the thing.
They look so confusing, just from movies.
Well, the big thing is you use a roundabout to make a right-hand turn, so it's left turn on red. And that took a little getting used to. Happily, I did not get honked at.
And
Otherwise,
the
we
history,
were in
the
train.
buildings, the accommodations.
The accommodations couldn't have been better.
Right.
Beautiful spot, and it was owned by this family that owns Drambuie.
Oh, okay.
I've not been a fan of Drambuie. I bet you have.
What is that?
I have drank Drambuie. I don't know that I'm a fan.
What is it? Is that alcoholic?
You're the research guy. Look it up. It's
Bambooie?
Drambuie.
Dram?
Drambuie.
It's usually an ingredient.
It's an ingredient. I would say like in coffee drinks.
Oh, interesting.
What does it say?
I just looked up a picture of it.
I think if you
Scotch whiskey liquor with complex flavor profile of honey, herbs, and spices, including notes of licorice, orange, and dried flowers.
Interesting.
If I'm not mistaken, if you get a silver coin or top shelf margarita, did they put Drambuie in that? Would they put?
No.
They put something in it besides tequila. Some
Yeah.
other liqueur.
Yeah, it's not Drambuie.
You know what I'm talking
I
about,
do.
though.
But
At
it's,
Fiestas, our famous Fiestas out in, they have a silver coin, I believe that's what it's referred to, out in, where's that? That's in, not in Beaver Creek. What little town is that in? Fiestas, in Colorado.
that's in Eagle.
Eagle. Yeah.
Yeah, in Eagle.
Yeah.
Eagle, Colorado.
Yeah.
So the long story short, it was a great trip. Couldn't have enjoyed it more. Can't wait to go back. One day, Stevie and I went fishing. We caught all sorts of rainbow trout, 2.5 to 3.5 pounds.
Fly
on
fishing?
Fly
Fly
rods.
rod.
Did you take it back with you? Cook it?
No, because we were not residents of the country, it was catch and release.
Oh, really?
If you're a citizen, you can catch and consume.
How was the golf? Was the track fast and hard pan?
It's definitely a hard pan. So
Yeah.
if you hit it, you're better off not hitting it high but long because it'll roll out for you.
Yeah.
The greens were hard and slow, which was it took a little getting used to figure out.
Is there a big variation in the grass? Because on television it looks like it's pretty much the same.
It's the
all
same
way
grass, and it's probably a 1/4 inch difference between the rough and the fairway.
So did
Jeez.
our mutual friend have a hard time lifting the ball off the ground on that hard pan?
Our mutual friend, well, there were 3 comments. One of the best was during the whiskey tasting, he made the announcement, not that he experienced it directly, but it reminded him, whatever the particular whiskey was, of hashish, that he remembered the
Well,
smell,
why
the
would
aroma
he
from
know
college.
anything about hashish?
Well, that was a topic of conversation.
Did his wife, was his
I don't
brand
think
new
his-
bride, was she aware of his
I don't think,
affinity for hashish
well,
back in the day?
I can neither confirm nor deny, according to him, whether he was aware of hashish so much as he, at one point, with that beak of his, sniffed it. And his wife was not party to that part of the conversation for a while, and then it got changed.
Is that in the United States? I had to look up what that was.
Hashish?
Yeah.
It's a form of.
It's a form
I
of
s-
marijuana.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's packed a little different.
It was an interesting conversation. Let's just leave it at that. So he struggled a little bit with the golf. I actually played pretty well on the first 2 courses.
Good.
The rough is not rough like we have over here. It was very easy to find your ball, even if you didn't hit it straight. The ball definitely, your carry is your carry, but it'll roll out pretty well for you.
Was there any chatter about the Ryder Cup?
Oh.
There was. And I will just simply say all the Europeans were very excited about how well their team performed.
And I watched their team all day Saturday, and their team performed unbelievably.
Well, Sunday was interesting. Sunday, the U.S. was playing great. Victor
Yep.
Hovland didn't play.
Yep.
So they got half point.
Half. But Saturday, they just kind of mopped.
We got
the
destroyed.
golf course up with us, and they played. It's not that we played badly; they just played much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will just say the bigger subject of conversation, besides just being excited their team was kicking our team's ass, was, and everybody, whether you were American, European, and that was all that was there, could have been more embarrassed by the behavior of the American fans.
Yeah.
That's what I
Or the
heard.
Europeans.
Rory McIlroy he got heckled a lot. Even his wife, I heard, might
He
have
got
left
beer thrown
crying.
on. He's an unabashed supporter of the Ryder Cup and the European team, which he should be.
Yeah.
He's from Northern
Yeah,
Ireland,
he's from
and Shane Lowry
Yeah.
is unabashed supporter. They're both good golf, good competitors, and they shouldn't be treated like that.
I like those guys.
It was an
Yeah.
embarrassment to America to treat them like that. We should have had, as Americans, I was embarrassed, should have had more class.
They wear their patriotism on their sleeve, as they should. They support their team. They support
Yes.
the European continent. They support the spirit of the game, the spirit of the contest, as we all should. And hopefully, the Ryder Cup and whoever selects those courses. This isn't the first time that New York and Bethpage Black has gotten in trouble. When Brooks Koepka,
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka won the U.S. Open there. They heckled the crap out of him.
Really?
And he's an American, and they just didn't like him, for whatever reason.
Yeah, he's not really
So,
super well liked, but
No, he's not a well-liked guy.
yeah.
Right? So, but he wins golf tournaments, and he wins big golf tournaments.
Yeah.
So
Hey, he's a competitor.
I
he's
saw-
a competitor.
I saw Rory speaking on it, and he was talking about, and this is true, like how golf is an etiquette sport. That's how
It
the
is.
players and fans, like that's what you learn. So that's kind
The
of,
best
that's
thing
tough to
about-
see.
Quite frankly, I think the best thing about golf is the players police themselves.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that means that all of those guys have a high degree of integrity. It's hard to cheat anymore in a tournament. Not that it ever was easy, but I think with the cameras they have today, and there's many people calling penalties on themselves,
Oh yeah.
as it should be. And those are the rules of golf, and it's self-policing. Kind of a little different contrast from our society in general.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
So I think
True.
golf has a lot of great attributes, competitiveness and skill and being outdoors and the elements. But I think the number one thing is probably the honor and the integrity that the golfers play the game with.
Yeah.
If they're at the higher professional level. You certainly don't see that at the amateur level. There's all kinds of sandbagging and cheating going
Oh,
on.
boy.
Yeah.
Nobody I play with, though, because if they do, I don't play with them again.
100%.
Matt, I have a
Tell you
question.
what, you can learn a lot about a business associate or a prospective business associate playing golf with them.
Very
To
true.
Swade's point, if it's questionable, you learn the lesson without having to have too much of your professional reputation put at risk. Life's too short.
And the second thing is the temperament, how
Yes.
you handle bad shots, because it's bound to happen, even at the highest level.
Yeah.
Certainly, amateurs have a hell of a lot of them. Me included. Matt
Me.
rarely does, but I have lots of them.
I have a
It's
lot.
how you handle them, what your demeanor is, how you react. The way you throw clubs, do you swear? Do you drive them into the ground? Do you have a tantrum? Do you not talk to other people? Are you still engaging with your partners? I mean, there's a lot of ways to measure that.
Yeah.
It's a big tell on how you handle some adversity. And it's all made of yourself. You made the golf swing. You screwed it up. It wasn't any elements involved. So
Yeah. It's a
you
big
know,
character shit. It
sometimes
shows
you
a lot
just
of
got to look in
character.
the mirror and say, I'm not good enough, or I couldn't make that shot, or I did bad.
Or you can be me, who is not good, never has been, playing with Sleggs, had a little mini tantrum. And he said, I don't know why you're so upset. You're not good enough to be that
You're not
pissed
good enough
off."
to be that upset. You're not that good enough.
You said that to
that's-
Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
that's
not
why
good enough.
it's like, he's right. I embraced it.
Yeah.
And,
That's
kinda
how
gave
I
up
am
that
too,
part
I
of it.
guess.
So you said you had a question. Lay it on me, Sam.
So when you go to Scotland, do you take your own clubs or do you just rent clubs
Took
there?
their own.
You
Yeah, everybody took their own. There in Edinburgh, I bet there were 30 to 40 bags of golf from people coming in there.
do? Wow.
And it wasn't quite that many coming back, but it's like anything else. You could rent clubs, but I think most people, you spend enough money on them, you play with them enough, you kind of know how they
Yeah.
work with you and vice versa. I think
That's
you would have
really
a more
hard.
satisfying experience, even though it's a little bit of a headache, taking them with you.
I believe
Yeah.
in the fall of 2020, you and I and your brother and a few other chaps were scheduled to go over there, were we not?
We were.
Yeah.
2020?
Yeah,
2020
Oh,
because of
COVID.
COVID.
got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
Where else have you gone? Have you golfed any other countries either
I
of you guys?
have not.
I've only golfed, as far as countries, I've only golfed in Mexico and
Yes.
Scotland.
Mexico.
Hmm.
Now, golfed a lot of places in the U.S., and we've had a lot of fun doing it. But
Yeah.
there are people, that is their thing, is going. I met a guy sitting there waiting for another plane, and he was talking about how he had golfed in multiple countries throughout Europe and in South America. Apparently, Argentina has really enviable quality golf courses.
There's a lot of people who spend a lot of time and resources on golfing. I spend a lot, but there's people who spend a lot more.
Oh boy, is there ever.
Travel, certainly their equipment has a top end you can get to equipment on, but probably the golf course and the travel that
It's expensive. It's
and
expensive
quite
sport.
frankly, their experiences, and you have to appreciate that whole surrounding of a golf course and the golf community and the clubhouse and the caddies and all that goes into it. The food, the drink, the ambiance, the views, everything. So,
Yeah, it's a great sport.
yeah.
I mean, it's something you can always play forever.
That's true.
Yeah, it is.
So, what else did you want to know, Sam?
I don't know.
Good.
Jimmy.
I've got a research project for you for our next episode.
Uh-oh.
Dave and I talked about this during our last faux pas with hardware software. I would like you to please look up the U6 definition of unemployment.
All right.
And we're going to talk a little bit about productivity, and we'll talk a little bit about the impact that AI is going to have on productivity as well as unemployment. And we'll follow it up with some conversations about impact on different age groups and what that's going to look like.
It's a good
From
intro
there,
for the next episode.
like I said, you got a little research to do. You
All
can't
right.
sit around being the eye candy from the land of danger, goddammit. So with that, I think we're probably done for this episode, guys.
Okay.
All right.
To be together.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. As the old adage goes by the Beatles, back in the U.S. of A.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Well, I just should say everyone should like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on all our social media, Instagram and TikTok. Give us a listen, give us a like. Appreciate
And
it.
subscribe.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.